Neutral grip push-ups have a tendency to be a lot more comfortable on most people's shoulders, wrists, and hands. Now, if we want to do this on the ground, we typically use something like these push-up handles or a pair of dumbbells or parallettes. But not everybody has the need or desire or capability of getting down to the ground, and that's okay. This is where the multi-grip bar comes in. Now, the multi-grip bar has a bunch of different handles. What we want to mimic is the same position as we would on a regular push-up, which is hands about shoulder width. So we choose the handle that matches up to that. To set this up, we want the same fundamentals as a regular push-up. So we want to think our body's going to stay long. So we want to stack the heel, the hip, and the shoulder. And we want to make sure that we could almost draw a straight line through it. So when I grab my grip width, that gets me around shoulder width, and I get right up onto my toes, then I'm still keeping my body in a straight line. I'm staying right up onto my toes, and I need to get there first before I figure out if I'm in the right spot, because my chest needs to line up with the center of the bar. And if I'm not on my toes, I'm actually going to end up behind the bar. So just make sure that before you actually try to figure out whether you're in the right spot or not, that you actually do get right up onto your toes. Then from there, we're making sure to keep the shoulders down away from the ears, and then we're going to lead with the chest down to the bar. Then we push. It's important to note that you can always move the bar up or down in the rack to increase the difficulty or remove difficulty. There is a couple things that typically go wrong with any sort of push-up, and especially one on the rack. Number one is going to be that the chest has a tendency to go too far beyond the bar. So that just means that we're in the wrong spot. So we need to back up a little bit, and then we'll get up onto our toes. And if the bar is touching the chest, the middle of the chest, then we're usually in a pretty good spot. At the very bottom, we're always looking to try to end up with this wrist, elbow kind of stacked and somewhat close to the body, but it doesn't need to be tucked in. Now, if we don't do that and we end up with hand by the shoulder, then it has a tendency to cause some discomfort through the front of the shoulder. So if you're feeling shoulder discomfort, it's usually because, again, we are too far behind the bar, or the shoulders are coming up towards the ears. And so that's the second thing to look out for on this, is making sure, again, it's still in relation to where the chest is sitting on the bar, but we're not too far in front, we're not too far behind. And then the last thing to look out for is that oftentimes the butt will either rise or sag during the lift. So we'll either lose the hips on the way down, so it kind of looks like a suspension bridge, or the butt will stay too high and we'll dive bomb the bar. So that translates into, again, shoulder discomfort. So if you're feeling the shoulder, I would strongly recommend that you actually set up a camera to the side of you, record yourself doing the movement, and then you'll oftentimes see these faults happen. But all you got to do is make sure to get right up onto your toes. We want to squeeze our butt. We're going to draw our ribs down, almost like if somebody was to come along and try to poke you in the stomach, right? You're going to brace. So that's drawing your ribs down. And as long as we hold on to that position all the way down, then things will feel good. If we can't, then it means that the bar might be a little bit too low. So I would scale back and move the bar higher into the rack. So move this safety up a notch or two and try again. See if that helps. All right, hope that helps. Bring it.